Hey everybody, welcome back to another EDH video. Today's video is day 19 of 25 days of deck building, and we are on Abzan. I think that's the name of the colors. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. But this is one of my personal decks. I have actually built this deck and I play this deck. I don't play it often because it is a land destruction deck. Oh yeah, the first 24 seconds of the video, I'm already talking about land destruction. You know it's going to be a spicy one. So the Necrobloom is one generic, a white, a black, and a green, or an Abzan if that's the right colors. Legendary creature plant for Modern Horizons 3 has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 0/1 green plant creature token. Then if you control 7 or more lands with different names, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token instead. Then it says land cards in your graveyard have dredge 2, which means you may return a land card from your graveyard to your hand and mill 2 cards instead of drawing a card. And it's a 2/7, so it's a 2/7 for 4. So I think if you minus 3 from the 7 and put it on the 2, it's a 5/4. They're paying for 9 for 4. I don't know the statistics on that. I don't know how to figure that out. Anyways, this is really I like the Necrobloom. I play it, but like I said, it's kind of like there's like 3 land destruction cards in here, and that's why I call it a land destruction deck. But it's not really. It's not really it's not what it's all about. It's about me killing my own lands and then getting them back. But let's get right into what's actually inside the deck so that I can stop talking about land destruction, because nobody wants to hear me talk about land destruction for 30 minutes. Anyways, first up we have ramp. Of course, this is the most important stuff in a landfall deck. It's ramp. First up we have Arcane Signet, 2 generic, add 1 mana of any color, your commander color's identity, commander's color identity. I don't know what the heck I just said, but it basically taps for white, a black, or green. It's an artifact. Yeah, we want more land ramp or more like creatures that tap for mana is what I did. Not gonna lie, I put a lot of mana works in here, so don't at me on that. But Arcane Signet, really good one. We all know what it does. It taps for mana. It taps for 1 mana specifically. And then we have Soul Ring, 1 generic artifact. Tap it, create 2 colorless. We all know what this card does. We don't need to talk about it anymore. Next up we have 3 visits, 1 generic and a green. Search your library for a forest card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. So this can get a dual land, a surveil land, or just a regular old forest. But we don't really have that many just straight up forests. I think there's only like 3 forests in the deck, and then there's the snowland forest. I'm trying to keep them like I don't even have a Field of Dead in here because it's just like too much. But I do have like the snowlands already. Whatever. Tireless Provisioner, 2 generic and a green. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you create a food token or a treasure token. This is only in here because it creates a treasure token. It's not really ramp, but we're going to be playing a lot of lands, and we're going to be like returning them and sacrificing them and doing a bunch of stuff with our lands that are going to be entering. And I think it's cool. It's good with fetches. It's good with Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse type abilities. You get 2 treasures. Basically, you're making a bunch of mana. Squandered Resources, a black and a green, which is a Golgari. Sacrifice a land, add to your mana pool 1 mana of any type that sacrificed land could produce. Place ability as a mana source. So this is a little bit of ramp. Basically makes our lands tap for 2, but we have to sacrifice them. It doesn't read like that, but it's kind of what it means. Like you tap your land and then you can sacrifice it. So it's basically making 2 mana. That's the way I look at it, but we're going to be returning stuff, so it makes sense. Splunking, 2 generic and a green. Whenever it enters, you draw a card. Then you may put a land card from your graveyard onto the battlefield. If you put a cave onto the battlefield this way, you gain 4 life. But that's not really the stuff we care about. We care about lands you control enter the battlefield untapped. With like Escape Shift or something like that, I think they come in tapped. But with a Splunking, they come in untapped. Even if the land says it comes in tapped, I think this is a replacement effect, so it comes in untapped still. Rolling Regrowth, 2 generic and a green. Sacrifice a land, search a library for 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. I don't know why Roiling Regrowth is in here, but Harrow isn't in here. Doesn't make any sense. I'm pretty sure I didn't put Harrow in here. I don't know why, but I don't think it's in here. Actually, I'm going to go check the deck list. I'll be right back. Oh, wait, yeah, it is in here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a little bit stupid today. Yeah, we got Harrow, 2 generic and a green. As an additional cost, sacrifice and search for 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, not tapped. Very important, very cool. Very good for this deck. I like sacrificing lands. Nature's Lure, 1 generic and a green. Search the library for a forest card. Put that card on the battlefield, then shuffle. It's untapped. Very important. Search for a surveil land, like I said, dual land, all that good stuff. Even Fate Forest. You know, I've said this with the 3 visits we just talked about. Oracle Moldiah, 3 generic and a green. You may play an additional land card on each of your turns. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play lands from the top of your library. We're going to be playing a lot of lands, so we also have like Crucible Worlds of effects like that. whatever the one is that also lets you play stuff from the graveyard. There's a bunch of them. There's like 4 or 5 of them now that let you play stuff from your graveyard. So we're going to be playing it from our graveyard with an additional land drop. So Lotus Cobra, 1 generic and a green. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, add 1 mana of any color. This kind of is the same as Squandered Resources, but you don't have to sacrifice it. It's just whenever it enters. So it's basically like it comes in, if it comes in untapped, it's basically tapping for 2. You're adding 1, and then you can tap it for land or mana. So it basically adds 2. It's the way my brain works. A lot of people probably don't look at it like that, but that's the way I look at it. We have Lana Where Else, 1 green, tap it for a green. Elf Druid. I know this was a landfall deck, but I kind of wanted to build mana dorks in my land deck. I know I could probably use land ramp, like rampant growth, 3 visits, all that good stuff, but I wanted to put the mana dorks in. I don't know why. They're probably not even. It's way more beneficial to have something that searches for a land. But no, I'm putting Lana War Elves in because it's good. Also, Harrow's in here twice. Hey, let's talk about it again. It's a good card. You can sacrifice a land, search for 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield untapped. That's the important part. Then you shuffle your library. So that sacrifice gets it into the graveyard, which you can then, since you have Dredge, you can get it back with your Necrobloom and then mill 2. And then if you have Gitrog out, it does all kinds of stuff. Anyways, exploration. 1 green, you may play an additional land on each of your turns. Very good turn 1 play. You go Forest, exploration, play another forest, tap the forest, Lana War Elves, boom, commander. No, I don't know what I'm saying. You do like 2 shock lands, and then you take a bunch of damage. Then you can play your commander if you have another land. It makes sense. Turn 2 Necrobloom sounds good. Elvish Mystic, a green, tap it for a green. It's a 1/1 Elf Druid. Again, I put mana dorks in here. It'd probably be more beneficial to put land stuff in here, like a burgeoning or like some other thing that lets me play additional lands. But I don't care. I want elves in my landfall deck. It's probably not very synergistic, and it's probably bad. And people are going to be like, man, this freaking sucks. Then we have Elves of Deep Shadow, 1 green, tap it, add a black. Elves of the Deep Shadow deals 1 damage to you. It's 1/1. This is in here to fix our mana, but I'm going to go on the same rant. It's an elf. It is a druid. It is a Golgari card, and it is a mana dork, and I want them in my landfall deck. Why? I can't even tell you why I want them. Maybe I want them to fix my mana or ramp me. But next up we got Dryad of Elysian Grove, 2 generic and a green. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. So a plains is a forest and a swamp, and also a mountain, and also an island. It's pretty cool. I like this card. It's a really cool card. Also, the art's kind of like very erotic. And we got Deathrite Shaman. It's a Golgari hybrid, which is a black or green creature elf shaman. Tap it. Exile target land card from a graveyard. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. You can also pay a black. Tap it. Exile target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard. Each opponent loses 2 life. Pay a green. Tap it. Exile target creature card from a graveyard, and you gain 2 life. The exile target land comes in handy with us, but also our opponents are playing fletchlings and stuff like that. We have Birds of Paradise, 1 green, flying. Tap it. Add 1 mana of any color. Now, this was actually one of the best dorks, because you can tap it for all your colors. This is probably going to be like the dork that you want to play on your exploration first turn. You go Shockland, Overgrown Tomb, Exploration, boom, Temple Garden. Then you tap the Temple Garden and play Birds of Paradise, and then boom, I feel like this is probably the good one to play. Or like an Abyssin's Pilgrim. 1 green, tap it, add a white to your mana pool. That's a 1/1 human monk. Not an elf, but he's very bald. I mean, look how bald that guy is. Nothing against bald people, but that guy's bald. Anyways, it's human. What am I talking about? It's a dork. It is very good in this deck. I feel like it's good mana fixing. If you don't have any white in your opening hand, an Abyssin's Pilgrim can go good getting your white mana. Azusa, Lost But Seeking, 2 generic and a green. You may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns. You may play 2 additional lands. It's a 1/2. Let's just put 2 additional lands into play. Again, this is good with Crucible Worlds and stuff like that to try to keep playing lands from my graveyard over and over and over again. I like this card. It's pretty cool. Removal. We're in white. We have Assassin Trophy. It's a Golgari. Destroy target permanent and an opponent controls its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Since we have cards like Armageddon in here, we don't care that they're searching for a basic land. We're gonna blow it up. Like, who cares? You know, Armageddon, boom. And it real feels bad if somebody, if we like destroy their land and they search for a basic, and then we're like Armageddon, boom, everything's blown up. Archdruid Shroom, 3 green. Search the library for a creature or land card, reveal it, put it on the battlefield tapped if it's a land card. Otherwise, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Put a plus counter on target creature you control. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control, or exile target artifact or enchantment. So this is good to search our land, a land that we want. Also good to destroy artifact or enchantment. Also good for creature removal if we have a big enough creature. And then we got Armageddon. Wow, everybody hates this card. It's probably like top 100 on the Salt score on EDH Rec. But it's 3 generic and a white. Destroy all lands. Yeah, I only have one effect that destroys all lands, but I'm usually gonna play Armageddon, and then I'm gonna like get all my lands back with like a Return of Nature. Maybe that's a card. I don't actually know, but usually that's what I'm gonna do and win. Damn, yeah, damn. I'm cussing. I'm just kidding. It's a magic card. Don't demonetize me or whatever. Just kidding. I'm not monetized. Two black. Destroy the right creature. A creature destroyed this way can't be regenerated. 2 generic and 2 white. Overload, so it turns all the targets into each. So destroy each creature. They can't be regenerated. Regeneration is a thing that nobody cares about anymore. Felder Profane. 2 generic, 2 black. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. It also has a land on the back that is Fellmire. As Fellmire enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. Taps for black. There's like 70 lands in here. I think there's like, yeah, there's got to be at least 70 lands in here. I don't think there's that many. There's like 42. Path to Exile, 1 white. Exile target creature is controller may search the library for a basic land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Again, we don't care about them getting a land because we're literally going to Armageddon it next turn anyways. I'm just kidding. We're not going to Armageddon that much. I am looking for more white land destruction. Yeah, this is a mean deck, and I want it to be mean. And I want to put Omnidixis in here, the Hate Twister or whatever. Swords the Plowshare. 1 white. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. If we're in a pinch, we're just using our own creature. Because if we're like at 2 HP and we have our commander, we're like, yeah, let me get the extra 2. I'll survive your gutter snipe or whatever. It seems good. It's also just good removal. I don't know. There's like crazy art there. I don't know. They're like all bigger than him. Anyways, Witches Enchantress. 3 generic and a white. Whenever it enters, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment opponent controls. And then it has a flip land, so it enters the battlefield tapped. If you don't pay 3 life and it taps for white. And we just have them in here because they're useful. You can use either part, the destruction or the land or the it's a 2/2. Toxic Deluge, 2 generic and a black. As an additional cost to cast this spell, pay X life. All creatures get -X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you paid this turn. Wow, that's not actually what it says, so don't at me. This is like a $5 card now. I remember when it was like 5 billion, and that's why I'm putting them in all my black decks because they're cheap now. Lands matter, do they? We got Zorn 0, sacrifice a land, you gain 2 life. Yeah, we're gonna sacrifice all of our lands to this and just go back up to 100. Because why not? We're just gonna put all our lands out with like a scape shift, and then boom, get them back, and then boom, sacrifice them, and then boom, get them back. It's gonna be boom, boom, boom. We're just gonna be sacrificing, getting them back. We're just gaining a lot of life. It's not a life game deck, but Zernob's good. What are the Reliquary? It's a Gold Gary, so a black and a green. Vigilance, Zombie Knight, creature. What of the Reliquary gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. It's probably not going to be very much. Now you can tap it, sacrifice another creature, search your library for a land card, put it on the battlefield tapped. My thought is we can sacrifice those plants to get more lands. Sacrifice the plants to get more lands. That's my thought, or more zombies from my commander. Undergrowth Recon, 1 generic, 2 green. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It's a bit slow and a bit bad, to be honest. But I built it from my personal collection. I built it from only cards that I own that are in my collection that I didn't buy. These are cards I have, so I threw it in here because it says land card. That's some reason why it's in here. Like I said, it's not very good. Tireless Tracker, 2 generic and a green. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, investigate. And then whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a +1 counter on Tireless Tracker. So 3/2. It creates a bunch of clues, a little bit of card advantage. We're probably never gonna like really crack. We might crack them if we're desperate on like for man or card draw. But I mean, we can definitely. I mean, we can do it. We can do it for sure. I mean, but it's kind of a feel bad to crack a clue. 2 mana. Anyways, the Gitrog monster, 3 generic and a Golgari, which is a black and a green. Legendary creature, Frog Horror, Death Touch. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice the Gitrog monster unless you sacrifice a land. Anyway, play an additional land card on each of your turns. Whenever one or more land cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card. It's a 6/6. So basically, all of your lands have Dredge, so all of your lands are Dakmor Salvage, which is a card that's known for comboing with the Gitrog monster. Then we have Thalia on the Gitrog monster, 1 generic and an Abzan, legendary creature, human Frog Horror. First strike, Death Touch. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Creatures and non-basic lands your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, and then whenever it attacks, sacrifice a creature or land, then draw a card. This is just the Gitrog monster. It's a cool art, and it also does stuff with lands and stuff. Also a little stacksy, but it's okay. Live in Safety, 1 green, sacrifice a land, target creature you control gains Shroud until end of turn. We're kind of using this for the little bit for the protection, but also just to sack all of our lands to it. Because why not? I don't know. We could just sack all our lands to it, and it'd be kind of funny to do. And I don't know. I think like somebody swinging at you with lethal would be like, in response, I'm gonna sacrifice all my lands. Springheart and Nantuko, 1 green and a generic. Bestow, 1 and a green. Enchant creature gets +1/+1. And then whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1 green and a generic. If Springheart Nantuko is attached to a creature you control, if you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature. If you didn't create a token this way, create a 1/1 green insect creature token instead. It's a 1/1. A very cool card from Modern Horizons 3. Probably one of my favorites, to be honest. Splinter Reclamation, 3 generic and a green. Return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Remember how I told you I was going to be sacking a bunch of lands? Yeah, we're going to be getting them back with a Splinter Reclamation card. This is literally, we're going to Armageddon and then Splinter Reclamation. That's literally going to be the line of play. We're going to have 8 mana to do that, but I mean, most people are going to like see Armageddon and scoop. Like that I mean, that's not where we're banking it on, but that's pretty much what's going to happen most of the time. 6, 2 generic and a green. Legendary creature, Tree Folk. Reach. Whenever it attacks, mill 3 cards. You may put a land card from among them into your hand. As long as it's your turn, non-land permanent cards in your graveyard have retrace, which says you may cast permanent cards from your graveyard by discarding a land card in addition to paying their other costs, which is very cool. I love this ability. This is another one of my favorite cards from Modern Horizons 3. I wanted to put a commander deck around him, but I just threw him in here instead. Scoot Swarm, 2 generic and a green. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of Scoot Swarm instead. This card can get absolutely insane if you Armageddon and then Scape Shift or whatever what was the Splendid Reclamation. You do that one. So yeah, you just create like 5 billion Scoot Swarms. But the art is also just absolutely disgusting. Scape Shift, 2 generic and 2 green. Sacrifice any number of lands. Search your library for that many land cards. Put them onto the battlefield. Tapped. Then shuffle your library. We all know what this card does. I feel like we've all seen this card. It's probably in a Modern deck somewhere. I don't actually know. I've never played Modern. I don't even know what Modern is, to be honest. I've only played Commander my entire life. But it's probably good. It is good. I've cast it. I love this deck. Knight of the Reliquary, 1 green and a Selesnya. Gets +1/+1 for each land card in your graveyard, and then you can tap it, sacrifice a forest or plains, search your library for a land card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. It's very crop rotation-y. You sacrifice it, but it has to be a forest or plains. But it is very like crop rotation. Go search for the land that you absolutely need right now. It'd be much better if we had like Orberg, Tomb of Urberg, or whatever it is, and then what's one that creates zombies? I don't know. Life from the Loam, 1 green and a generic. Return up to 3 land cards from your graveyard to your hand. Or it also has Dread's Tree, so instead of drawing, we can mill 3 and put it into our hand. It's pretty cool. It's a cool card. I just like the art, to be honest. That's the same art that I have. I think it goes in a lot of land decks, but I don't know. It looks cool, so why not? Felidar Retreat, 3 green, 3 green, 3 generic, and a white. Sorry. And whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, choose a 1, create a 2/2 white cast beast creature token, or put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn. This is a way to win, honestly. Maybe like we can Armageddon and then Splendid Reclamation and get like +20/+20 until end of turn. with all of our tutors. Elvish Reclaimer, green, I guess +2/+2 as long as there are 3 or more land cards in your graveyard. Then you can pay 2, tap it, sacrifice a land, search your library for a land card, put it into the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. It's pretty good for a 1 mana thing, but you do have to pay 2 mana to do the crop rotation thing. But I think it's okay as a repeatable effect. Not the best, but we have Crucible Worlds, 3 generic. You may play land cards from your graveyard. So with our fetches and our evolving wilds and all of the stuff that sacrifices, or cycle lands. Cycle lands are a big one. I like cycle lands. Those are really cool in this deck. I'll get to that later when I actually talk about the lands, but cycle lands go crazy in this deck. Like, it's absolutely crazy. Crop rotation, 1 green. As an additional cost to cast crop rotation, sacrifice a land. Search your library for a land card, put that onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. People always say library. Is it library? I think it's library. Library. I think I say library. Library. I'm gonna try to say library more. Library. Conduit Worlds, 2 generic and 2 green. You may play land cards from your graveyard. You can tap it, choose target non-land permanent card in your graveyard. If you haven't cast a spell this turn, you may cast that card. If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. We're only casting one spell per turn in this deck anyways, so might as well just activate this every turn. Cast something from your graveyard. I'm just kidding. We have plenty of stuff to cast. Ancient Green Warden, 4 generic, 2 green. Reach, you may play land cards from your graveyard. If a land entering the battlefield causes a trigger ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So it triggers our command. There's a bunch of effects in here that have landfall triggers, so I think this gets out of hand with like Scoot Swarm and like literally like everything in the deck. We need to Field of the Dead. That's the card I've been trying to conjure up in my head. Field of the Dead works with that, I think. Augur of Artem, 1 generic, 2 green. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. Then you may play land cards from the top of your library. Then it has Coven. As long as you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. The 2/2 zombie and O2 plant, and then like no, this is not a different power. But anyways, you can definitely get there. Aftermath Analyst, 1 generic and a green. Whenever it enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. You can pay 3 and a green, sacrifice it, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It's a 1/3. I don't know what much to say about this card. It's from Murderzit Markov, Murderzit Karlov. I don't know the stupidly named set that came out this year. I think it's cool. Elf Detective. Next up, we got Recursion. We got a little bit of it. We got Agadeem's Awakening, X and 3 black. Return from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that have a different converted mana cost X or less. And it has Agadeem the Undercrypt as the land. As Agadeem the Undercrypt enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped, and it also taps for black. This card's cool if you can cast it. It's kind of like a lot of mana, but the art's also cool. I like the art. Battlegate Recovery, 2 generic and a green. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Battlegate Sexuator is on the back. It enters the battlefield tapped, and it taps for a green. Finally, I've learned how to put the lands on the same page of the card. Yeah, it took me 19 videos to figure out how to do this. It's crazy, right? I just totally haven't been doing it. I need to start doing it more because I really suck at it. Anyways, Eternal Witness, 1 generic, 2 green, enters the battlefield. You may return to a card from your graveyard to your hand. It's a 2/1 human shaman. This card is a staple in most green decks, so why not put it in my landfall deck? If somebody destroys one of our key pieces, of course we're going to Eternal Witness and get back our Gitrog monster, because Gitrog monster will probably be targeted a lot because nobody likes to play against that card. And next up we got Savine's Reclamation, 2 generic and a white. Return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If the spell was cast from a graveyard, you may copy the spell and may choose new targets for the copy. Then it has flashback, 4 generic and a white, which means you cast it for a flashback cost and then exile it. So that's why it has that second clause on there about the copying and everything. This card's really cool. That's all I have to say about that one. We have Worldly Tutor. This is not recursion. This is just random stuff now. Worldly Tutor, search your library for a creature card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top. We don't know what this one does. We like Worldly Tutor. It's a good tutor for this. Yeah, woo! That's what I got to say about it. We all know what Worldly Tutor does, and it searches for creatures. Probably the Gitrog monster. Then we have Scourge Familiar for generic and a black creature. Phyrexian Imp flying. I don't know how the heck that thing has flying. I don't even see no wings on it. Anyways, discard a card, add a black. You're probably wondering, why the heck is this card in here? Well, that, my friend, is because it combos with the Gitrog monster, I think. Since all of our lands have dredge, I think if we dredge and then draw and then dredge. Yeah, and then we have Oblivion Crown, 1 generic and a green and a black. Not a green and a black, just a black. Flash, enchant creature. Enchanted creature has discard a card. This creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. An enchantment aura, the art looks like Kratos or something. Kratos mixed with like Thanos, mixed with like, I don't know, some guy with a crown. I have no idea. But yeah, Gitrog. These are all Gitrog pieces. News Constructor, 1 generic and a green. Reach, discard a card, and News Constructor gets +1/+1 until end of turn. These are all Gitrog pieces. So we want a discard outlet, and then Gitrog in the battlefield, discard Gitrog, or not Gitrog, discard a land, dredge, draw. You can just look up a Gitrog primer. You'll know why these cards are in here. I don't need to explain it. It's too much. Then we have lands, 2 forests. Yep, there's only 2 forests in here. There's only 2 plains in here. We don't have very many basics. 3 swamps. 3 swamps is pretty standard. We have Barrymore. It is battlefield. Tap it for a black, and you can also pay a black and cycle it. Discard this card, then draw. So with the dredge, this card goes crazy because you pay a black, you discard it, and you draw. And whenever you draw, you can replace it, and you discard. Yeah, you just yep. You go crazy. Bloodstained Mire. Tap it, pay 1 life. Search your library for a basic land, or not a basic, a swamp or a mountain card. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Yeah, the sacrifice it first. They keep replaying those with our what's the card that lets you play from your graveyard? You just keep doing that over and over again. Bajuka Bog, enters the battlefield tapped. Whenever it enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. Then you can tap it for a black. We're never going to choose ourselves. We're probably going to Armageddon somebody and then Bajuka Bog them because that sounds funny. Command Tower, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. So what this card actually says is tap it, add a black or a green or a white. That's literally what the card says. If you play Arena, that's what it says. Deceptive Landscape. Tap it for colors, or tap it, sacrifice it, and search your library for a basic plain, swamp, or forest card. Put it onto the battlefield tap, and then shuffle. It also has cycling for an Abzan, so you discard this card and draw a card. We're never going to really do this cycling one, because it's a lot. Dryad Arbor. Dryad Arbor is a land creature forest Dryad. Dryad Arbor is green. So 1/1. Not very important. This is a little 1/1 guy. Counts as your land drop, but also has summoning sickness. A Django, Seat of the Empire. Tap it for a green, a white. You can pay 2 in a white. Whenever you discard it, it deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. This ability costs 1 less to cast for each legendary creature you control. My thought was you can keep dredging that with your commander and keep getting it back. Evolving Wilds, sacrifice it, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Exotic Orchard, add 1 mana of any color that a land and opponent controls could produce. We don't really care. We don't really care about this card, to be honest. It's just a differently named land. Flooded Strand, tap it, pay 1 life, sacrifice Flooded Strand, search the library for a plains or an island card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. We're not getting islands with that, let me tell you. Gala Shrine. Gala Shrine is a plain swamp. Enters the battlefield tapped, unless you pay 2 life. Yep, that's what it says. Taps for white or black. Horizon of Progress, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any type a land you control could produce. You can pay 3, tap it, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. You also pay 1, tap it, and sacrifice it and draw a card. Lesh Portiku, it's a forest plains, enters battlefield tapped, enters Surveil 1. It's searchable, it's very cool. Surveil, Overgrown Tomb, Swamp Forest, enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. Searchable, really cool. I like all these double lands. Phyrexian Tower, legendary land, tap it for colors, or tap it, sacrifice a creature, add 2 black. We have this in here for the little tokens we make. We can sacrifice them, add a little bit more mana. We don't really care about the tokens. Pluto Delta, pay 1 life, sacrifice it, search your library for an island or swamp card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. We're not searching for an island card with this one either. We're searching for a swamp card. Scattered Groves, enters the battlefield tapped. He also has cycling. So discard this card, draw a card. He's a forest plains. We can tutor for it. But we mainly care about the cycling because it's colorless. Secluded Steep enters the battlefield tapped. You tap it for a white, but it also has cycling, so you can cycle it for a white, discard this card, and then draw a card. These lands are just so good. I just love them so much. Snowcover Forest. We don't need to talk about this one. It taps for green. Yep. Why is this slide the longest one out of like all of them? Snowcover Plains taps for white. These just count as differently named lands. That's why they're in here. So if we control 7 or differently named lands, we get a thing. We have Snow-Covered Swamp. Same reason it's in here for differently named stuff. Taps for black. The arts are okay. I feel like they're kind of lame. We have Strip Mine. Tap it for color, so you can tap it, sacrifice Strip Mine, destroy target land. Yeah, we're gonna recurring this a bunch and just keep on strip mining people's lands because we're gonna be little douchebags like that. We have Temple Garden, enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 life. If you don't, enters the battlefield tapped. It's a forest plains, so it's searchable. And also yeah, it's really cool. Tranquil Thicket enters the battlefield tapped. You tap it for a green, and you can also pay 1 green, discard this card, then draw a card, which is the cycling ability. We like it. We have Urza's Cave, tap it for a color, so you can also tap 3, tap it, search your library for a land card, put it on the battlefield, tap, then just shuffle. So you can search for any land card. That's why it's kind of important. If we had the Field of the Dead in here, it'd be way cooler. Wasteland, tap it for colorless, sacrifice it, destroy target non-basic land. Again, we're going to be recurring this, destroying all their non-basics. Windswept Heath, pay 1 life, sacrifice it, search your library for a forest or a plains card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. Yep, it's a fetch land. It's a good. Yeah, Wooded Foothills, pay 1 life, sacrifice it, search your library for a mountain or a forest card, put on the battlefield, then shuffle. Yep, it's a fetch land. We're going to be recurring it. We already know what this stuff does. Woodland Cemetery enters the battlefield tap unless you control a swamp or a forest. Yeah, we know what this one does. It's cool. Woodland Cemetery. Woo! Woo! Yavana Cradle Rava. Yavama Cradle of Growth. Each land is a forest in addition to its other types. Wish we had a Orberg, but anyways, yeah, good video, good deck. Check it out. Anyways, link in the description. Blue Sky, join the Discord server. Anyways, peace out because this video is way too long.